Okay, yep,
Yay!
we're live. We're so
Are we
We're
live.
here.
are we alive?
Nope. Okay. Yep,
Or
we're doing
are
the
we
Cure
just in a
again.
dream?
We're at the Head on the Door, the only
Wow.
good Cure album.
But
The sixth
uh,
studio album. It's not as good as the trilogy, but it's better than the top. Huzzah!
I enjoyed this, I think.
Oh, I love Head
um,
on the Door, don't get me wrong. I just don't think it's quite the resounding statement like pornography was, for example.
I'd
But
have
it's
to
much more
compare
fun
it.
to listen to.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's certainly easier to listen to than pornography.
Critically, Pornography is a better album, but I've listened to Head on the Door more times because it's short and sweet. And it's everything. It's kind of like what the top was trying to be, but fun. Yeah. This is the start of the Cure as superstars. This is the beginning of their halcyon days of breaking America and making a shit ton of money. And what a way to start. This, man, a lot of stuff is going on here. Basically, this is Robert Smith becoming a character, a persona, sort of giving into his kind of becoming a celebrity and just being like, I'm just gonna run with this. And Simon is back. He was much missed. That's the bassist. He was much missed on the top after he left the band after Pornography. And he's back. Pearl, who's been designing the album covers and they've known since high school, is finally here as the de facto guitarist and will soon be guitar god on the next few albums. We got the whole lineup, and Lowell has been consigned to keyboards essentially. Poor thing. But yeah, this is
Do you
great.
think,
This is, but
do you
most
think
important of
keyboards are
all,
lesser instruments?
no. But Lowell is not a keyboardist, just like he wasn't a drummer. So he's
And what is he?
well, he's like a general musician, but he doesn't really excel in any instrument. This will become a problem later. I mean, on the next couple of albums, they already have another keyboardist called Roger O'Donnell who's going to come on, and so Lowell has no definite role, which becomes an issue soon. Yeah, and speaking of not having a role, we have the most famous Cure drummer, Boris Williams, makes his debut on this album and is on all of the Cure's most commercially successful records, and he's an amazing guy. I love Boris. He fucking
Like
very distinct playing style.
I did not notice the drumming very much on this album.
Did you listen to the beginning of the first song? Opens with a fucking
Yes, one very short. Yeah, but not in general. Like, it doesn't stand out as much on this album, I think.
Well, this isn't his best stuff, I will say.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard Cut,
him on
and,
Wish,
and
yeah.
that is definitely different.
Yeah. And when we get to Disintegration, I'm definitely going to slip in a few live tracks, like the live version of the track Disintegration, where he's just fucking going off. But yeah, man, we have the Cure, like the great core lineup here, and man, this is, you know, he said he's basically, this is the first album he tried doing without drugs, I guess, since Three Imaginary Boys is just booze. And there isn't really a lot of backstory to this. It's just like they wanted to make a straightforward pop album, just make pop songs, be inspired by all the music that he liked, and just have this kind of kaleidoscopic rainbow of songs in a way that are all
Much
supposed
New
to be
Order
very
influence.
different. Sure.
I mean, there's two songs
Of
that
course.
sound very much like New Order songs, at least. We will get to them. Yeah.
Okay.
In Between Days is one of them.
That sounds like New Order.
Yeah, it sounds like Dreams Never End.
Oh, yeah. I guess that's true. Okay. I mean, it's not crazy thought. Not one of the things he cited as an influence. But yeah, we should just. There isn't a lot of backstory to this. This is, the top was kind of like just a throwaway thing. It wasn't a big deal. And now the Cure are back in all caps. And are here to fucking break the charts. And starting off with their first single to crack the US. Charting at 99 on the US top 100 in between days.
I find it funny that Iron Maiden was like better received than the Cure. Doesn't compute. Even though I think Iron Maiden is better, but still, like in terms of appeal, I was thinking
I agree.
that
I think marketing goes a long way.
What goes a long way?
Marketing.
Like the way the marketing and stuff like that. Also, it's this is the thing that will come up, that was going to come up at some point anyway, but there is a lot of gay panic, shall we say, around the Cure for a while. So it makes sense that the Cure crack around the same time as Culture Club and stuff like that is kind of when that stuff is becoming more acceptable. It's in America, it's going to always be easier for people to champion and freely say, yeah, hell yeah, I like Iron Maiden, fuck yeah. Jocks can say that, everyone can say that comfortably. If you say you like the Cure as a teenager, you might get beat up and stuffed into a locker. It's the guy with the big hair who wears the makeup, and there's certain luggage that comes with that.
That makes sense.
Especially if you've been listening to the Goth trilogy, like so far, there has not been that much stuff that was going to be appealing in the US. And then soon after this album, all of the singles get compiled into a compilation called, gotta get this right, I think it's confusing because Staring at the Sea, I think, is the singles compilation, and there's a VHS tape called Standing on the Beach. I hope I didn't get that the wrong way around. But yeah, Staring at the Sea compiles everything from Killing an Arab to Close to Me, all the singles, and that is like the way that most people in the US heard all of these singles. The Japanese Whispers also, I think, people went back to. But yeah, this is important. But man, In Between Days is a track, and you guys should tell me what you think of it.
I remember, like, the first time we listened to it, I did not like it, and having listened to it a few more times, I like it more than I originally
you seem to
did.
Soften on it.
Yeah.
It is grown on how many songs that would happen if we went back.
I mean, I've listened to all of them multiple times by now. Yeah, as I already said, this one sounds like a New Order song, specifically Dreams Never End. It's another upbeat sounding song. I think the guitar is fine, the bass is a bit boring, vocals are fine, but the synth or keyboard or whatever it is not really working for me on the track. And
that's like my favorite part.
Really? I think it feels like it doesn't.
That's what makes it like nostalgic, and that's what holds it back from just being a strictly like cheery, upbeat song, and gives it a kind of a little melancholy edge. That's what I like about it. It makes it kind of feel like, makes me think back to my In Between days. Harkens back. That's what I think that's what really like anchors the song for me.
Yeah, I wrote that
it's like off theme.
Yeah, I wrote that it feels like we're starting a movie in 1988.
2 years in the future.
Yes, they were ahead of their time. It's very, I put that it's poppy and fun. Yeah, for the fifth time, I put down that it reminds me of someone, parentheses, maybe XTC. But it was nice. I didn't adore this song, but it was cool and poppy. The songs on this that I actually liked, like they work as just songs that you can listen to and have fun.
Yeah.
Like I think I had an idea about The Cure. I think when they're like trying to be artsy, often it goes like too far. I feel like their base state is like relatively weird. So if they can just be slightly, like if they try to be somewhat normal, it's gonna come off as weird anyways. So I think the poppy ones I
see
tend to
what
like their poppier songs more.
and they've grown on me after thinking I was not going to like them. No.
I mean, it's not a weird take to be more into their pop songs. I mean, you also have to consider like the environment and the time period that, you know, the trilogy came out in. It would have been, if they had been doing pop songs right away, I think it would have fallen flat. The kind of the kind of growing pains of the trilogy, I think, is what makes the pop songs so sweet. And also it depends what you're in the mood for anyway. I mean, if you're someone who just listens to happy music and upbeat music, then of course you're gonna like the pop songs more. If you're someone who wants to feel, you know, anger and rage, or wants to, you know, like swim around in that melancholy and
Slowly
despair of
drown in
faith.
an icy lake.
Yeah, yeah. Then there's stuff for that too. I mean, when you're in a sad mood, you might want to listen to sad music, or vice versa. So yes, but if the Cure were just the pop songs, I would not be happy. That's what I like about the Cure, is that they can do so many genres, and why I thought they're a great primer band is exactly because they're so versatile. And Robert Smith has, I mean, I guess you could say he has 6 different ways inside of him. And he'll do these raging songs, and these melancholy ones, and these techno ones, and these guitar strumming pop ones. Yeah, but In Between Days, great single song. I listen to it on its own a lot. It's fun. And then I have to wait. No, I can do this. It's Kyoto Song next. I don't have to look it up.
Yes.
Yeah. And tricky song to talk about. I will say, I often describe songs I like as beautiful or gorgeous or something, and I would say Kyoto Song is merely pretty. Like it's a pretty little piece, but it's very. I think it's kind of like, I think it's a bit superficial, in the way that it. I mean, it's called Kyoto Song. I've explained before that it's like a patch on a synth, but it also clearly is hearkening to Japan, and it has that like kind of generic Oriental thing going through it. It's I never dislike it, but it is one of the more kind of conservative attempts on the album, and not one I listen to outside of the album very much. Like, if I'm doing the whole album, of course I'm not gonna skip it, but I'm never like, Kyoto Song. It's a nice little bauble of a song.
It's decent. I think actually the instrumentation with synth and keyboard is somewhat interesting. It's different from most other stuff.
It just has that stain of like Chinese takeaway to it, like dung dung dung.
I don't even get a real like Asian vibe from it at all.
I did. I don't think it's one. I don't think it's 1-to-1, but the lick they do with that string instrument, it sounds very close to like one of the stock melodies that you get with like ethnic music or like video game theme music.
Yeah. It's never going to be exactly the same. I mean, they're not retarded. Like, they're not going to be like, you know, just play whatever, like, obviously generic thing. They're going to like, but it's obviously influenced by that sort of thing. And that's kind of a thing I have with The Blood too. It's like the
Blood I like. I mean,
I'm not saying I dislike either of the songs, but what I mean is that they're like, you can tell that they're just like, hey, let's do a song in this style, and it's kind of like a bit of a shallow implementation of that idea, which is, I'm not saying they do it badly, but there are later songs and even songs that we have had up to this point that kind of take those influences and work them in more subtly, you know? Like, I prefer when you can tell something is influenced by something kind of when it's pointed out to you, rather than it being like so blatant when it comes up, you know. Yeah. But yeah, what do you think of Kyoto song more in depth, Josh?
I think the bass is a bit boring, but it's like audible, like you can hear it well. There's no guitar in there, I think. Yeah, I mean, in some, yeah,
bass is
because it's,
audible.
yeah, that's a
Yeah.
positive thing
Well
because
said.
in many of the songs throughout the Cure, the bass is pretty buried, and it's
Yeah,
not
I
the
will
case with
say
this song.
this problem has this problem has an album. I was gonna say
Oh, that sounds.
spinnerisms. This album has an issue which a lot of like 80s productions do, which is that they're kind of produced for cassette tape, and so they don't have much lower high end. And it can be a bit muddy. Yeah, I agree. This album and also the next one can have that issue on some songs where it's kind of like they sound very like everything is at the same level. There's not much dynamics going on in the mix, which was not a thing. Earlier was not a problem in like the early 80s things, but now middle 80s stuff, it's become more of an issue because like for a few years there, cassette tape is overtaking vinyl, and cassette producing for cassette is different for producing for vinyl. You don't want very high highs or low lows because it makes the tape hiss and does all these weird things. So it's like a signal thing, which is unfortunate for historic reasons. Yeah, but yeah, unfortunate blemish on the album. I agree.
Vocal. I mean, I don't think this album is that bad in that terms. It's just songs here and there, even with earlier albums as well.
Yeah, but it is a slight annoyance.
Yeah, vocals are fine, and the background vocal effects are good this time. I think it's just another echo effect again, but it's probably the best echo effect they have used so far. And yeah, it's a decent song, but I don't really care much about it.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, Green?
Kind of about the same. This was definitely one of the songs I had the least reaction to. Seems perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I think I think like the goofy ethnic instruments, I feel like they should have either like went way harder with them or not at all. It felt a little muddled, like they kind of had an idea but didn't, lean too far into it. There was a little point where it felt like this both sounds Chinese and like Arabic at the same time, which is not a bad thing, but I just got a little lost. It was okay. I didn't feel I didn't feel that strongly one way or the other. Like it's just like okay, it's not a mistake. Like you're allowed to put it in the album.
Yeah, it's yeah, I agree. I mean, being at 4 minutes, it does feel a bit longer than because a lot of the songs on this album are more around 3 minutes. But speaking of leaning harder into it, I think that's why the Blood fares better than Kyoto song is kind of just.
I did like the Blood more. My first note for
it wears it on its sleeve harder. Yeah,
my first note for it is I caramba.
Yeah,
Spanish
but at
guitar.
least you can't Spanish guitar is varied enough that you can't really place like a melody to it. Like it doesn't, you're not like, oh, this is the Spanish riff. It's just like an instrument. Yeah, that's, and I do like, and speaking of Middle Eastern things, I do like that Arabian little flourish of the like the
that's like, it's like
that really makes it hold together.
Yeah, it's like Green said, it's or rather as Green said with the previous song, this also has like two different cultural influences, like the Spanish stuff and the Oriental sounding keyboard thing.
Yeah, the Arabian thing has been an influence since the first album, so it's interesting to see it kind of resurface here. But I think it works much more as an accent than as like a it's not a core to build a song around, but it is a fun thing to just throw on top of a song when you feel like, I don't think it would be interesting enough with just the Spanish guitar. It would be kind of dull. So it's like, let's throw in a little extra ingredient here into the concoction. There you go. That makes sense.
In this song, it works.
Yeah. Interesting.
I do
it's an
have
interesting
written.
kind of hypnotic song. The way that it's sung and the kind of the way that the lyrics kind of repeat in this kind of chanting way.
Yeah, like I've written down
It has
it's a
kind of a
bit
dazing effect
repetitive.
on me in a good way. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is one
It's
of
like,
the songs where I can hardly hear the bass.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I do like the little
Well,
guitar solo section thing. I do like the lyrics.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I like the song in general. It's just yeah, I don't super like it, but I do like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about it. I mean, it's just like you just put on, you're like, oh, this is a fun thing to have in here, and they never really did another one like it.
Yeah.
This interestingly, this was a single specifically in South America and some countries in Europe, of course. They decided to push this as a little limited single run, which is cute because they knew it would do well in those territories, and it did. Yeah, but I think we can move on. Green said his thing. Into yeah.
I mean, a little. I mean, I like this song well enough.
Okay, I don't know if you had
This
more
song
to
was like
say.
slightly above average. It was fine.
Yeah.
I
I
did
put it as one of my
I did say
but,
I did
yeah.
say that the religious lyrics are getting slightly goofy at this point. But that was okay. You're allowed to have slightly
that's
goofy.
always been the case.
I mean, it wasn't screaming about the Wailing Wall or anything like that, so
Yeah, I don't think that happens anymore after this.
I am
actually.
paralyzed by the blood of.
I'm trying to think
Is
of...
anyone in the Cure like
Well,
sincerely
I know
religious?
that.
Like, where is this coming from?
I mean, this wasn't this inspired by the Portuguese wine?
Yeah, this is inspired by a wine called the Tears of Christ. So I don't know, it's the blood of Christ, but no, this has never been. Well, he's just singing about stuff that he finds interesting. I don't think Robert Smith is religious at all. I think he's probably an atheist, in fact. But I don't think that's the case. I just think it's finding it interesting. You don't have to be religious to sing about religious stuff.
You don't. I was just curious if there was like a reason.
But also, no, I don't think so. And also after this, that really, I can't think of a song that. I mean, I guess just like Heaven as Heaven in the title, but that's. But no, I don't think aside from like Faith and Wailing Wall and this one, there's that much stuff. Yeah, but man, 6 Different Ways is a fun song, isn't it? And it's kind of a thesis statement for a lot of things at the same time. Kind of, it's kind of like the idea of the album, and it's also kind of like Robert Smith acknowledging the kind of personas that he has, the masks that he switches between doing different songs. This song kind of also marks the arrival of this new kind of like David Bowie like singing style of his that is more that kind of was showing its face in the top, but here is much more confident and less haggard and exhausted. Yeah, this like fun kind of honky tonk voice he does on a lot of the tracks here is definitely one of his new characters. The same way Bowie had like Ziggy Stardust and the Thin White Duke and all these like different styles he would play in. Also has a weird note to it, which won't mean anything to you guys, but this is almost exactly the same. Like this is just the instrumental he wrote for a song when he was in Susie and the Banshees called "He Gives Birth to Swimming Horses." If you go to listen to that, it's just exactly the same beat, but singing different lyrics over it, and a woman, obviously. So he just reuses that because he's like, well, I wrote that, so I'll just use it here, which cheapens it a bit. But I like 6 Different Ways. I think it's the mark. I think it's the beginning of like my favorite stretch on the album. And I'm like,
I mean, the later parts of the album are better than the earlier ones, I think. Yeah, I've written down things like trumpet horn sounds ? It's like another upbeat sounding song with like lots of different instruments and sounds mixed together.
Yeah, xylophones and their Keyboards, all this
I
fun little.
I do like the
Has like a
main keyboard riff. I do like the
playroom vibe
vocals,
to it or something.
but
Yeah.
no guitar this time. And is it the keyboard that acts as a bass? It sounds like that.
I don't know, or care in fact about the
No,
technical aspect.
like, it sounds like there's no string bass, but that the keyboard acts as a bass, and it sounds fine. Like that's pretty much what I wanted to get at. Yeah, it's a decent song.
Yeah, that's cool. Green, I bet you like this song.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, like the little whistling.
Yeah, there's a lot more going on. Also,
It's very bubbly. This song is very bubbly. That's how I would describe it.
also yet
Like it's
again,
very.
it reminds me of something else. I mentioned it. I mentioned this when we were listening to it together, but the little, I don't even know what the fuck it is. Like, is it a flute? What's the trilly little thing that goes doo 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 doo? What is that? Is it a synth?
I mean, they're all synths.
Okay.
A lot of it is synths.
That totally reminded me.
I'm not sure what instrument it's trying to replicate though. Like it might be a synth acting as a flute, like on Lament, for example.
Okay. Yeah, but that totally reminded me
most of the patches on early synths and
talking.
keyboards are just named after the instrument they're trying to replicate. Well, I'm just completing my point. Like, if you ever had an electronic keyboard, you'll have like a button that says like oboe or cello, and you click on it, and the keyboard sounds like that. So, because I don't think anyone is like, I can't imagine any of the members pulling out a flute and playing it like this isn't the 70s. I think it's just the keyboard line, but yeah, that's what I mean. But yeah, it sounds like a flute. Flute sounds right. Maybe like a piccolo. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does it remind you?
It reminds me of the opening to "Silly Love Songs" by Ween's, Paul McCartney's band.
We are ignorant. We have never heard of this.
Yeah, it was a cute song.
I mean, I've heard of Wings, but why someone who doesn't like the Beatles would listen to Wings is very confusing.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm a man of.
It's just obviously shittier.
I'm a man of 6 different sides.
Deep and complex.
I'm a highly.
Truly, you are like an onion.
Mysterious and complex. That's what
I'm a highly ergodic consumer of music. But yes, I did like that. I feel like an older or maybe just worse version of this would have left out the goofy little sounds going in the background and just like focus on the main instruments. But this was nice. There were cute little things I could listen to while the beat was, plodding along.
It's fun.
It was a lot of pretty colors.
It's fun to key on different like little riffs of the song when you get bored. You just go, I'm gonna focus on this bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Colors is a good way of describing it. Definitely feels like rainbow like, and there's like all these like 6 different melodies going on.
Yeah, it's very cool. I like the songs they do where they just give you like little side quests to to focus on.
Go listen to the Sid.
Yeah, because if you get distracted for a second, you can just like follow something else. Yeah, like you said. I thought it was cool. Like it had kind of a doo-wop thing at points. There was a lot going. There was a lot going on. I don't know if I have anything intelligent to say, but there was a lot going on. But it was balanced enough that it didn't feel annoying, so I enjoyed it.
Great.
Oh, I also put it sounded at points. It sounded like they just left random machines running in like the corner of the studio.
Kind of, yeah.
Like they forgot to turn a slide projector off.
Oh yeah. Or yeah.
Yeah.
Like you you wind up a music box or something. Yeah. It's got that feel to it.
Yeah. Okay. That's my
then
thought.
Goes into my favorite song on the album. Push.
Wait. Oh, okay. You're skipping over the.
Well, yeah. I'm not gonna put. Yeah. Well, we're doing the album like as tour. The B-sides is more just we'll do the B-sides at the end. Let's just go straight to Push. Man, what a this is like the deep cut for Cure fans. Everyone is always like, "Oh, what's a deep cut off an album?" Man, this is the one. This is one that ends up on every Cure fan playlist. Everyone loves Push because it's so fucking cool and hype. And it just fucking cracks in, like just breaks through the album, just fucking explodes out of nowhere after this fun little ditty. You just have this I don't know, like fucking rising, floating instrumental just fucking sweeps you off your feet and you're like, wow, fucking flying through the skies. It's great. It's so good.
I mean, I do like the guitar, and this is the best thing about the song.
Well, the drumming is great. Like that.
Yeah, I said drumming is decent on this one.
Yeah, and if you say the intro is too long, I'm gonna get that GIF from Arthur where he puts the little headphones on the dog guy, and the guy goes, "When does the song start?" And the guy goes, "That is the song." And it's like, yeah, turns out the intro and instrumental parts of a song are just as much part of it as the parts with the guy singing on them.
Sure, I'm not saying it's not part of the song, but the intro is too long. I said it the first time I listened to it.
No, the intro is the best part.
Wait, are we talking about Push or a few hours?
Push.
Okay. We're talking about Push.
I'm
doing the album run first. Yeah.
The intro is like 2 minutes and 46 seconds or something, which is too long.
Yeah,
I mean, if it has like more
there is no such thing as there is no such thing. It is different. The riffs that are happening are slightly different every time. The guitar is like it like floats around between these different bits, and there's that echoing like do 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 do.
This is like when a sommelier tries to convince you that like one wine is better than another wine.
Yes, yeah.
What is the logic here exactly? That you think the Cure hit their head and they went and suddenly Robert Smith forgot how long an intro should be? It's obviously purposeful, and the idea is that it's leading up.
But it does not mean that makes me like it. I mean, I do like the song though. It's
such a great like swimming feeling of being in that. Like you're just swept up in it in such a great way. I just want to live in that space.
I'm just the type of person who prefers more changes in less amount of time.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, that's pretty much all. Yeah, I like the song. I think I have it.
I like when the lyrics kick in too. I think they're cool. I like smearing people on the walls like strawberries and cream.
Yeah,
it's great. Just like a fucking just a heavenly song. Just elevates the album for me. I fucking.
It's your favorite on the album.
Yeah, this and the Baby Screams are the two, probably the two best things, and then after that it's the two singles.
Wait, the two singles? Yeah. Like, I mean, we will get to it, but a few hours after this, I really don't like.
You keep confusing singles with B-sides. The singles are close to me in between days. The B-sides.
Okay, that's even more.
But I will say a few hours after this and Exploding Boy are better than almost everything on this album. No, a few hours after this is one of the best songs ever done.
Oh, fuck.
But we'll get to that.
We'll get to it, yeah. First, Green's take on Push.
Yeah, but what about Push, Green?
I wrote down. Part of me is almost afraid that I wrote my notes in the wrong order. No, I don't think I did.
I think it's just because we're skipping over the B-side.
The reason I'm skipping it, to be clear, is the idea of the podcast is that we're going through the album, so it'd be a bit weird for us to be like, our version, we're going to stick through B-sides here. I just did that for the playlist's sake, because I think it's a better way of like putting them, because we had already listened to the album as just the album itself the first time. Then I snuck in the B-sides in the middle of it for like a better like listening experience, because the whole thing with this album is it's pretty short, and there is no reason why they couldn't have fit the B-sides on either side of the record and like made it 40 minutes or
well,
whatever instead
I
of
will
30.
say about Push. I wrote this song is what it felt like to be a teenager in 2011.
Okay.
Probably.
Yeah. That's my whole thought.
Oh, the baseline is really strong too on this. Like,
Oh, I
I
don't know if I've said it. I have like a bass is fine, but a bit quiet.
especially when like the guitar goes down, you just hear do 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 do
Yeah.
do, and the drums. Yeah, like, yeah, man, that really throws me.
Oh,
Okay,
Lou.
that's all Green has to say about Push. I guess. Green, doesn't it rattle your spine in any way?
Yeah,
It
not
did. If
really.
it can throw him back to 2011, then it
Yeah.
must have had an effect.
It just reminds me
But
of
Green
like.
wasn't a teenager in 2011.
Yes, wait, was I?
Yes, you were. 2011.
I guess he was He
He
was like
was 18, right? Or
okay. Well,
17.
Well, I was born in
okay, well, that's an adult.
'93. So.
Yeah, so 2011 you'd be 18.
Oh yeah, I was a junior I graduated in 2012, so I was a junior in 2011.
I mean, technically you're still a teenager, but when you say this makes you feel like a teenager, I think more like a 15-year-old than an 18-year-old.
Well,
You'll pardon me.
I think I was 17, but let's not pontificate. Also, maybe
Well,
I'm
you
using
were
my
17 for
maybe
a few
I'm
months,
using
then
my
you turned 18,
maybe I'm
so it
using my
depends what
empathy
month.
to know what teenagers felt like in 2011.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Okay.
I looked at the
Okay.
person one chair over who was a year younger and went, I wonder how they feel right now. But okay, next song.
Yeah. The baby screams.
Well, the baby screams is
It's the
very
best
interesting.
song.
I mean, I feel like both Push and the baby screams are like very unique, not just in the Cure catalog, but just in general. Like, I can't really name a song quite like Push. Like the baby.
I have sounds
And it's
like a
very
New Order
electronic.
song. Blue Monday. This one is the song that sounds like Blue Monday.
Oh, that's a cheap shot.
Right. It's there. There's like one.
Every electronic song from the 80s sounds like Blue Monday.
Well, that's not a detriment. What's the opposite of a
Baby
detriment?
Screams is fucking a compliment.
Yeah, that's a compliment to Blue Monday.
Sure, I like Blue Monday. I'm just saying the Baby Scream stands out, man. It's very weird song. It's almost like structureless in a weird way where it doesn't go like verse chorus verse. It has just like different passages that it cycles through in a weird way. Like it goes between the different, and the same with the lyrics. The lyrics are just like different. Like there's some bits that are just like normal verses, but then other bits are just like kind of these like chanted, repeated like lines like the baby screams and could ask for more than this and all this stuff. Yeah.
Like I think I like everything about the song. Like I have no negative notes on anything.
It's a great again, another deep cut. As in, you know, like casual fans who've only heard the singles won't hear Push or the baby screams because they're buried kind of deep in this album. But yeah, great. If you deep delve into Head on the Door, these are the few treasures you come out with. You're like, ooh, baby screams. This is a very interesting one. Yeah, I've listened to this one a lot too. It's very catchy. I love the shuffly thing going through it. It's really memorable.
This is my sort of song.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm glad you like it. What's up, Green? What do you think of the baby screams?
I don't really have strong feelings on it either. Honestly, either this one and Exploding Boy. I mean, to me, it just kind of felt like a lull. Like I'm not mad. I just don't have strong feelings either way. Just it's fine.
Your neutrality betrays.
I mean, this is literally always like the Cure songs I don't actively like. They just kind of fade into a muddle for me.
I mean, it's the same for me as well, but for most of them, other than the ones I really don't like.
I mean, when we reach the end of this, I think I'll take like my 10 songs that I genuinely like, and they'll just be scattered everywhere.
Yes.
Yes, and you'll hate them.
Well, oh dear. Now we have a problem. I will. Now we have a serious problem because it's close to me next. Jaws,
Push
tell
it
me why
away.
you're talking about close to me.
Yeah, I don't like the drums. I don't like the vocals. There's no guitar in the song. Yeah, it's very repetitive. And
Minus.
the
There's no harpsichord either. Are you gonna dock it for that?
I don't expect the harpsichord, but I do expect the
Songs
guitar.
don't have to have. Well, that's your problem.
Yes, it is.
There's no sticker on the cover saying contains guitar on every song.
I wish it did. It has this weird xylophone like instrumentation. Bass is fine, but a bit boring. I already said it's like repetitive. And the other version you showed us is like way better with the horns or trumpets or saxophone or whatever it is.
I like the trumpet version too, but I also like the original for different reasons. I like the original. It's because this is a very weird song and unique because it's like because it's like what I like about it is that it's like a very creepy paranoia song in the guise of like a pop-y song. Like this is similar to Six Different Ways, but it's got all these like hushed, weird, claustrophobic like whisper track thing going on in it. The lyrics are fucking weird. It's all about this like hallucinatory dream that he's having about seeing his own head on the door and stuff like that. I think he said in interviews and stuff. It's like a dream he had as a kid. It's just like this creepy fucking weird. It's like if some like it's like a psychopath trying to like cheer you up with a pop song or something. That's what I like about it. I don't. I mean, I love the single version, of course. Like the single version is just fucking infectious with the horns. We'll just do the both of them together. Like that amazing like Mardi Gras ending, just fucking party like that happens with that explosion of all the trombone and tuba and stuff. But yeah, like I say, I like them both for different reasons, and this is like their biggest single to this point.
Like I really don't like the way he's singing.
Really I don't.
That's probably the most off-putting part about it. I'm not sure. And I also don't like the drums and the weird clapping thing.
Yeah, synthetic clapping is also interesting. I mean, I don't feel any strong need to convince you otherwise of this one, but I mean, it's not really something where I would listen to it and I was like, oh fuck yeah, Jaws is gonna love Close to Me. Your aversion is understandable. What about you, Green?
I don't know. I feel kind of weird because I actually really like this song. I actually think it's easily my favorite song on the album. Probably one of the few, probably one of like the 4 or 5 Cure songs I'll probably just find myself listening to in daily life.
Or once you have a normal opinion that lines up with most of the one of their most popular songs.
I mean,
to this day.
I didn't see it as sinister in the way you did. I mean, maybe a little bit, but like in an endearing way.
Consider both the lyrics and the. If you listen to this like on a good stereo or with good headphones, there's some very unsettling, odd, like sort of whispering and gasping and little things going on like in your ear. That, like I said before, this is like Robert Smith is lying in bed next to you, like whispering the song in your ear, and you're like, ugh.
Sounds nice.
like it sounds nice, but there is like the again I don't know what version you're thinking of in your head when you think of the song, but the original version is so sparse and so like it's disquiet.
Yeah, it's like there's something missing.
Like there's something. That's the whole thing. Like it refuses to have any more complexity to it, and by being so quiet, it is disquieting. It's like they're in this muffled room, and you're like trapped in there with this little weird little jaunty ditty that doesn't. I don't think it is what it's trying to be, like on purposefully. Like I don't think it's a mistake. I think it's like it's like trying to pass itself off at something purposefully, which is funny. I think it's a very clever song.
Yeah, I found it. I mean, I found it very. I don't know. It's hard to know how to describe it. I found it very like charming, and I think I took it sincere.
Yeah.
Like there's something a little sinister in it, but no more sinister
I
than
mean,
just
I will
like
say,
a
Grant, this isn't
normal.
something.
I don't know. Like I didn't see it as out of place.
Well, Grant, I
Uh,
don't think it's something that would jump out to you on 2 or 3 listens. I listened to this song, upwards of 50 times, and it's something that only creeps up on you on the second half, probably, as being like, actually, there's something weird and off-putting going on in this song
I
that
don't
doesn't.
know.
Yeah, the first few times you hear it live, I'm sure most of the public is agreed with you. You just think of it as this fun, like, oh, it's this light little fun, tune. But
I don't even know
yeah,
if it's
what I
that.
like about it is the added dimension that you get from it from repeat listens, where you're like, wait a second,
I don't even know if
this
that's
is
it. I
weird.
think I just I think I'm taking. I think my default setting for like this sentiment or this emotion that's in the song is that it being a little creepy is just like part and parcel of it, so it's not something I see as like I don't know dissonant. I have a
I don't think it's dissonant.
in
I think
my
it's interesting. Yeah.
notes I'm in my
And the
notes I
single
put
version plays more into the fun aspects of it, where it takes those riffs and brings them to the forefront and adds all this instrumental fun stuff to it, where it's like it's not preoccupied with that, and that really goes into the background. But the album version, yeah, that really comes into focus by contrast. Yeah.
in my notes I put that this song has a lot of tension in it, and I enjoyed that because a
Yeah.
lot of the Cure's songs, especially the ones I don't care for as much, there's just not a whole lot of feeling of like tension or urgency in the song. They're just kind of plodding along. And I really like this. It feels like something's about to happen for the entire song. It was engaging. I liked it.
Yeah, and that you get that's the thing. That's why the album version is disquieting, because you get that payoff in the single version. It's like it's quietly tense and building up, and then it goes into this big horn explosion. And the album version just doesn't, just stops and just goes like bye. Like, but that's what I like about it. It's just like this weird like vision you just have, and you go like, oh, what the fuck was that? And then into a night like this. Uh, hmm. I've always had mixed feelings about a night like this,
I
because it's
liked
like
it
this
well
big
enough. Just,
bombastic. No, it's fine, but I feel about it the same way I do like Kyoto Song or something, where I'm like, eh, it's an interesting addition to the like smorgasbord of the album. I like the saxophone solo.
Yeah.
Although maybe it's a bit too obvious in a way. But it almost like I can almost just see that like sexy sax guy meme guy just showing up, busting into the song. I kind of feel like it's a bit too try hard though with how like loud it and boisterous it is.
Am I
And not
remembering the song?
much going on with the lyric. Yeah, it's like,
I mean, obviously, I have the saxophone in there, but
that one that opens like that, you know.
maybe I'm confusing it with a different.
I want to say.
Maybe I'm confusing it with a different song, but I don't think I am. Like to me, it sounded like the most normal, boring song, with the exception of the saxophone.
I'm not saying it's not boring, but it's definitely bombastic. Like the whole instrument, the like instrumental of it is this big like brrr, like loud thing that, I mean, if you don't believe me, just play it for a second on your end on Spotify or something. Like it's a very raucous sort of song.
it'd be funny if Jaws' audio leak led to this getting flagged and taken down.
That was me.
Oh,
Because for some reason
even funnier.
my audio isn't coming out of my headphones for some reason. The Spotify decided it wants to come out of my speakers instead. No, that won't be long enough for it. Yeah. I don't know. This is where the album dips again for me, because I love everything from like 6 different ways. Push, Baby Screams, and Close to Me is a strong run. and then I like this kind of dips the album back for me.
Yeah, it's okay, but I don't really care about like. I do like the guitar, vocals are fine, and rest is boring with the exception of the saxophone.
Green.
I just think it's okay. Like, it's one of the easier ones to listen to, so it's like it's a bit above average, but I just thought it was okay.
Yeah, no one cares about like this.
I would kind of
which
just
also a single, which is weird.
I can't even say much about it without just repeating things I said about earlier songs.
Yeah, it's just boring. Like it's not, doesn't feel special in any way.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, this album is shaky. Like, it's. I put it as like when I did in 30 seconds I like just mocked up a quick like tier list off the top of my head, and I was like, this one is the most B tier. This is the most B tier Cure album to me. Like, it has a lot of fun on it, but also has a lot of like, it's not as bad. The problem with it's the top was like has if the best songs on the top would be on here almost, exception of a couple, but the top had way more like no, I don't care for that at all. This one just has a lot of like this is fine. Yeah, but also has lots of but you know, it's like half and half strong songs, half and then okay songs. Same with Screw. I mean, I love the guitar tone. But
yeah, like the guitar or bass or whatever is really really heavy on it.
I like the heavy distortion. Whatever pedal they're using is cool. Not a big fan of like the marimba like thing underneath it though. I've never been huge into Screw.
Yeah, I don't particularly like it. Like outro instrumentation is fine. I like the bass or guitar sound or whatever it is, and yeah, other than that, I don't like the song.
Yeah, it's a worthwhile curio. No pun intended. Like you should listen to. I don't hate it, but yeah, I'm just like, yeah, Green. You don't have much to say about Screw, probably.
I wrote, this guy needs to tighten his damn strings. I didn't hate the intro lick, but that's the only real opinion I have about it.
Yeah.
It's like oh, that lick is kind of cool.
Yeah, they could have worked it up a bit more into something. Kind of could have been a standout on Three Imaginary Boys or something. And then, you know, this is a very syncing. I feel weird about syncing because I feel like it's very incongruous with the rest of the album. That's my biggest issue with it, is just sequencing. Like, I get the whole thing of the album is like it's very different sounds and it's kaleidoscopic and stuff, but this doesn't feel. All the other ones kind of feel like distinct. Syncing is very strange to me because it sounds like either it's like trying to be like Faith or something again.
It sounds like earlier Cure stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like earlier Cure stuff, and also it's weird because if I had to throw it on an album, I would throw it on Disintegration, maybe as like a B-side to some song on Disintegration, because it sounds much more like that, which is weird in a way, because it's still a while off. We're still like three or four. We're still 4 years removed from that. Yeah, I like it as a song on its own. I like the violin instrumental thing going through it. It's very it's got a lot more going on than a lot of songs on here. Like not disparaging, just a lot of the songs on here are clearly like purposely like pulled back and just have like a couple instruments. This has like a lot of like audio flourishes going in on it. It feels very dense, very very lush, I would call it. And also it doesn't keep with the attitude of the rest of the album, because the rest of the album, no matter how weird and creepy and stuff the moods are, it's always like very energetic. And then suddenly at the end it's like he had like a fucking his high is like energy high just like broke, and we're going back to the moping melancholy of earlier Cure stuff, and it's like I love that on those albums, but it feels weird. I don't know. I think it's a
Like as
very
an
weird
outro song,
song.
I like it. I mean, yeah, I like the song in general. Like it's my third favorite.
I think it's a bit too like big for an outro song in a weird way. Like it's kind of so melodramatic that it doesn't like lead me out of the album so much that it just feels like an addition. Like I feel like In Between Ways to Screw is one thing, and then I feel like Sinking almost got like grafted on at the end. Not that I think Screw is like a great ending song, but it feels more. If I resequenced it or something, I would probably end with. I feel like a night like this could be a fine ending, actually. Swap Screw around, put Screw before a night like this, and then end there. And Sinking, I think should be on another album. As much as I like it, yeah, it's a good song though.
Yeah,
I just feel like it's incongruous, is all.
Yeah, it's this is the only one where I had trippy as a note. And it's like, oh right, I forgot the Cure did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I do like the bass. I do like the guitar.
Yeah, it had a
Echo
nice
effects and
guitar
the
riff.
vocals work
I
for
like
me.
that.
Yeah,
Like,
vocals are fine, and then they get like really good during the outro section, or shortly before that, rather. Yeah, I
some of the best singing on this one for sure. I agree. And now we're gonna have a big fist fight. But I know why you don't like A Few Hours After This, Jaws.
Do you?
It's because you can't do your glass reflections, go through each instrument and give them a separate ranking and then give an aggregate score at the end. You're like, it's all just a synthesizer, pretty much.
I said it's very orchestral sounding, and it doesn't
that's what I
work
love
for me.
about it. I love it because to me it immediately evokes like what do you call it, like a ball, like a Beauty and the Beast, like regal. It has this regal feeling of like a ballroom dance, and you just see all these like gilded golden things. It's very like luminous in that way to me. Now I love it. As soon as that instrumental comes on, I'm just like, whoa, I'm just like in another world for a bit. And it's so short too. I just love that it.
yeah. How ironic.
It's just this glimmer into this.
I feel
it's like you get to peek into the window of this palace and just see this royal performance going on. You're like, ooh, and then it glints out. And
for me, the vocals and the instruments sort of clash. They don't fit together. It sounds disjointed in a way. And in addition to the vocals, like just being buried.
That's an interesting critique.
Like it's almost like the time is off.
They never really. Yeah, I think that's what I like about it. Honestly, is that it's not that preoccupied with the kind of lush orchestration that is going on.
But I've written down the lyrics kind of make sense, which is always rare.
Yeah, take it up with T.S. Eliot, sucker.
Wait, is this T.S. Eliot?
No, I'm just saying art and making sense in terms of lyrics and writing. It's like poetry. It doesn't have to make sense like from a logical standpoint. It just has to be well written, you know. Like T.S. Eliot poems don't make any sense if you try and analyze them as a story. Well, some of them do, but
yeah,
like
the ones featured in Cats.
You're like, hey, he was talking about, you know, showing me fear in a handful of dust, and now he's talking about rocks and stuff. It's like, that's not a story. I want to know what Jimmy went down to the store and what he bought, and then how he went home and got shot or something. Yeah, that's what I like. Yeah. Green, tell me what you think of this B-side A Few Hours After This. This non-album cut.
I liked this. This was my second favorite song.
I'm so happy Green and I are in agreement for so much of this album.
After Close to Me. I don't know if I listened to it like all the time, but I put this song has a lot of presence. Like it just kind of commands attention in a way, you know, most of the songs on here don't. I liked it. It was relatively short. It's very unique. It feels very big. I put a lot of drama and grandeur. This almost feels like something that was made for maybe not exactly a different media, but like something that did have a story.
Or a
It feels
movie.
like a
It could be
it feels
a
like a
movie or episode.
yeah, it feels like a conclusion to like something very big and grand. I put this. It should have.
Not
I put it
would
could have
not
been
have
like
been a
the.
bad ending song actually.
Yeah, I actually
Yeah.
have on my lyrics like this should have been the end song, but then I didn't say that because they'll be like, oh, this was a single, ha ha
Yeah.
ha. It's like okay, or a B side or whatever it's called.
It's a
The
B-side. Well,
yeah,
that's my argument though. The reason why for the playlist I put it like this for you guys was the album is so short that they could easily have put Exploding Boy and A Few Hours After This on the album, and it would not have bloated it in any way. Like I
Yeah.
don't understand leaving like regardless of Jaws' feeling. Like even if they had just been like, oh no, it has to be just 10 tracks, then I would have removed like just pull like Kyoto Song or Screw or A Night Like This off of there and throw Exploding Boy and A Few Hours After This on there instead. And I'm like, man, that would fucking bolster this album.
yeah, I
Like,
kind of feel like
you know,
Close to Me should have been in the middle and
it,
this should have been the last song or something like that. Or
yeah, that would have worked. And Exploding Boy needs to be on there too because it's cute.
Because it's good.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I really like this. It feels I put this
Yeah,
song
go on.
feels very Catholic. Which may or may not
Yeah, I
be a
can see that.
helpful thought. Like it's very much like cathedral and
Mhm.
grandeur and like importance and like trying to tell a big
Cathedral is a good
story.
word.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Just can't help but see like gold and you know and red and like well, it's like a jewel encrusted
Yeah,
almost.
it's like with this plays, you know, like oh, it's boss fighting
Right.
time.
Got a lot of filigree. Yeah. And the other B side, the Exploding Boy, this is totally like I'm paraphrasing Shadow Words, I often do, but this is like a sister song to In Between Days. Like they're both these like blistering guitar ding 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 songs, but Exploding Boy is like probably even better. I love both In Between Days and Exploding Boy, but yeah, Exploding Boy is like the slightly darker shadow of In Between Days almost. Man, yeah, I love this song. The fucking that horn thing, that like that same.
And
Man, when that comes in, I'm just transported.
I do like the bass and the guitar, and I do like the faster drumming. I think this is probably my favorite drumming on. Well,
Yeah,
it's
the
not on
drumming
the
is
album,
great.
but
Yeah.
Mm.
On this
I
clutch
can't-
of songs. Yeah.
I kind of like the vocals
I mean,
and the keyboard and stuff. I like. Yeah, this is my second favorite song of the songs
we
listened to.
are
for this.
entering the period where for the next, with the exception of Disintegration, the next the next 3 or 4 albums, like the B-sides are stronger than a lot of the songs on the albums, which is unfortunate. Like no, the albums are great, but like when I hear the B-sides, I'm like, man, I wish that was on there. Fuck, the B-sides of Wish, oh my god, they're fucking incredible. The B-sides on Kiss Me are all like, it's like 4 of the best Cure songs ever, and they're not on the album, and I'm like, what? Why do you do this? Put the weaker songs as the B-sides like you used to do. Like like stuff like Throw Your Foot, like yeah, that's a fun song, but that's definitely a B-side. Like I'm not sad that Throw Your Foot isn't on an album, or Splintered in Her Head, or stuff like that. I'm like, man, it's such a weird like choice. To just have like, I guess it's just to sell the singles. Like if you bought like the In Between Days single and it comes with Exploding Boy, you're like, man, that's a fun duo. That's great. Yeah.
Yesterday I pulled up the YouTube video, or not video, the YouTube version of the song.
Yeah, we're talk about the video of it.
And I looked at the number of times it was played, or rather the viewer numbers, and this song was uploaded five years ago on the Cure channel, and it has like only 15,000 views or so. And then I saw Banana Fish Bones, which was also uploaded 5 years ago, and that one has like 72,000. Like it's
really
such a big,
I know Exploding Boy is kind of a blind spot for a lot of people. I mean, that's what happens with a lot of these.
It has like 5 comments. this thing.
A few hours after this, no one has heard that. Like even less than Exploding Boy. And there's a song later. One of the best songs. I mean, you may disagree at the time. I'm sure you will. But one of the best. I mean, I think every time I say one of the songs is the best or my favorite, Jaws immediately dislikes it. But the no,
Not always.
I think he just hates
but
you.
there's a song. One of the B-sides, it's not even a B-side technically, but one of the songs I'm going to include when we do Kiss Me Next is called To the Sky. That song is only ever been on it was on like a sampler CD, like a CD that you send out, like Fiction Records that like, we're going to have one song from each band that are signed to our label, which is basically just The Cure and then a bunch of unknown songs. And the one that they have for The Cure there is called To the Sky. And that's the only time it was ever released on CD until 2004 when it was put on Join the Dots, the big box set. But like, that's like 20 years of just no one hearing this incredible song that just wasn't on the album for some reason. It's so weird. Like,
yeah.
That's part of why I wanted to do this podcast series, is like there are so many songs that even if I told someone to go listen to all the Cure albums, they still would have no idea of like stuff that they're missing out on. Yeah. But yeah, Exploding Boy, fun. Green said earlier he kind of thought this was a lull in the album, so I guess he didn't like it as much. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. This was one of the Blob songs that just kind of faded into the background.
Huh.
But it's energetic and fast.
Yeah, so are Cars.
Maybe Green dropped something when the song came on and he got slightly distracted. But it's okay. Let's talk about how The Cure finally managed to make a not so embarrassing music video. And this is important historically because it is because this is the heyday of MTV, and this is very important because MTV is instrumental in breaking The Cure worldwide, and The Cure instrumental in making MTV more of like a legitimate like music channel as opposed to just something that played like corny ass stuff. Because this is when music videos start becoming artistic. It starts kind of with New Order and True Faith and trying to do something more than just like, if you watch those early music videos, I mean, the really early ones like For a Forest and Trot sometimes are like cheesy as fuck and just like obvious and just like the band playing, and then even during the time of all the Japanese Whispers singles, they were just like, there's this silly thing where they'll be like, "Oh, let's go to bed," right? It's Robert and Lowell in a bedroom, and there's a bunk bed, and they're like doing stuff that is kind of like what the lyrics are. So there's like these silly oafish like visual metaphors for what is going on. In Between Days is like such a breath of fresh air, like for the time. I'm not saying it's like this the most amazing thing you're ever gonna see or anything, but it is a cool video. Like, I like the camera attached on the guitar. Yeah. I like the whole thing. If he's like talking to you first person, he throws the camera around, and then the cool visual effect with the iconic like glowing eyes superimposed thing. Like, this is kind of making The Cure have like an image in a more direct way, which is something that'll just get better and better. Speaking of, also my favorite album cover of The Cure, it's a multiple exposure of Robert's younger sister, who is married to the bassist Simon. It kind of looks like Robert Smith, which is weird, but yeah, I just love this. Like, the packaging is really getting like pro at this point. It's just like, you look at that cover, like, whoa, what is this? You just want to pick it up off the shelf.
I don't think that the music video is like that special, but I do like the camera on, I guess it's like a rope or something,
like a string or something. Yeah, I don't know. Well, you also have to consider, like, I'm not asking you to judge In Between Days compared to every music video you've ever seen. I'm asking you to judge it against the caliber of 80s music videos. Like,
yeah, I've seen like most of them are the earlier Cure videos, and they're like, meh.
Yeah, this one breaks away from that in it has a much more of its own character, and yeah, the next ones, the ones we'll do next, like Boys Don't Cry one and the hot one, are really fun too. I'm not going to include the music video for Why Can't I Be You because it has blackface in it, but
What?
Yeah, don't worry about it. I didn't include the one for Close to Me because it's just a bit silly. It's just like underwater and Robert Smith like fighting an octopus. You can look that up if you're curious.
That's some kind of funny.
But In Between Days is the historical one. Man, we did it though. We're getting into
The
the
Cure
Imperial
is finally getting
and
good.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is like the section. This is a stretch that has made most Cure fans, and then like only really old people became fans during the trilogy. Like most people became fans of this stretch of like from Head on the Door to Wish, and then they go back and they listen to those. And the Cure are singular for keeping like almost more than any other band. They keep their old songs alive forever. Like no matter what tour you go see them on, they're still playing songs from the first album. Like you're still gonna hear 1015, you're still gonna hear probably Killing an Arab, you're still gonna hear like songs from Faith and Pornography. Like they always mix it up. Like even after their biggest successes, they never abandon, you know, maybe Banana Fish Bones, but I mean even stuff from the top. Like you still get like Iggy in the Mirror and dressing up like live, like in the 80s and 90s and 2000s. Like they're always there for fans. That's why they're so adored by like they're such lifelong diehard Cure fans, is because they just service their fans really well and just be like, hey, you know, we see you there, you know, listening to 17 seconds. We're gonna play M, and we're gonna play it with a crazy amazing drummer, and it's gonna blow the roof off, and it's gonna be great. Yeah. But man, this is already the 6th album. This is crazy. We've made it so far.
Only 1 million more to go.
We're only almost halfway.
Hell yes. Well, I think I'm about to hit end stream.
Yep.
Yeah, do that.
I did that.